What if one move could completely change the future of the Indiana Fever overnight? Because moments ago, something happened that has the entire WNBA buzzing. It involves Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, and Lexie Hall. Yes, you heard that? Right? Sophie Cunningham is officially returning, and fans are already calling this a game-changing moment. But here's the twist. Not everyone saw this coming. Some insiders believed this would never happen. Others say this could turn the Fever into a serious contender instantly. And when the news dropped, reactions exploded across at WNBA and at ESPN. But what really led to this decision? And how dangerous could this trio become together on the court? Because if early reactions are anything to go by, this move might change. Everything. The announcement didn't come with warning. No buildup, no slow leaks, no drawn-out speculation. It hit fast, direct, and with a level of impact that instantly shook the WNBA landscape. Sophie Cunningham, officially linked back to the Indiana Fever. And just like that, the conversation around Caitlin Clark's team changed overnight. At first, fans couldn't believe it. Social media paused for a moment, not because nothing was happening, but because everything was happening too fast. Within seconds, at WNBA pages began reposting the news. At ESPN, analysts jumped in with early reactions. And fans, they flooded the comments with one question: is this real? Because moves like this don't just happen randomly. They happen for a reason. And when you look at the bigger picture, it starts to make sense. Caitlin Clark has already changed the trajectory of the Fever. Her presence alone brought a level of tension to the franchise that hadn't been seen in years. Every game became a headline. Every highlight turned viral. Every performance sparked debates across sports media. But as dominant as she is, basketball is never a one-player story. And that's where this move becomes interesting. Because adding Sophie Cunningham isn't just about talent, it's about identity. Sophie brings toughness. She brings edge. She brings that fearless mentality that changes how a team plays under pressure. She's the type of player who doesn't just follow momentum, she creates it. And then there's Lexie Hall, a player who doesn't always get the loudest headlines, but quietly impacts the game in ways that matter. Defense, hustle, positioning, things that don't always show up in highlight reels, but win games over time. So when you put these three together, something starts to form. Not just a team, a system, a balance between offense, defense, and intensity. But what happened next shocked everyone. Because as more details started to emerge, insiders began hinting that this wasn't just a short-term move. This was planned carefully, strategically. Conversations had been happening behind the scenes for weeks, maybe even longer. And the most surprising part? Not everyone inside the league expected it to actually go through. That's how unpredictable this decision was. Because while fans were focused on game highlights and matchups, front offices were thinking long-term, building rosters, adjusting strategies, preparing for a future where the Fever could become one of the most dangerous teams in the league. And now, that future feels closer than ever. But what really changed everything is the reaction from other teams. Because the moment this news became official, the entire WNBA took notice. The reaction across the WNBA wasn't just loud, it was immediate. Within minutes of the announcement, players, analysts, and insiders started weighing in. Some reactions were subtle. Others were impossible to ignore. Because when a move like this happens, it doesn't just affect one team, it sends a message to the entire league. And that message was clear. The Indiana Fever are not rebuilding anymore. They're ready, but not everyone was convinced. Some analysts at ESPN questioned the fit. Could Sophie Cunningham adapt to a system led by Caitlin Clark? Would there be enough ball movement? Would roles clash? Valid questions, because when you bring together strong personalities and high-level talent, things don't always click immediately. But what happened next? changed that conversation completely, because behind the scenes, early reports started surfacing about team chemistry, and they were unexpected positive, very positive, according to insiders. The early interactions between players showed something: different respect, communication, a willingness to adjust, and most importantly, a shared goal, winning. That's what made this situation different, because instead of competing for spotlight, these players seemed ready to build something together. And that's rare. But the real turning point came when footage from practice started circulating, short clips. Nothing official, but enough to give fans a glimpse. Quick passes, fast transitions, defensive rotations, and one thing stood out: immediately. Energy. This wasn't a team trying to figure things out. This was a team already moving with purpose. And fans noticed. Social media exploded again, but this time, the tone was different. Not confusion. Not shock. Excitement. Because suddenly, the idea of this trio working together didn't just feel possible. It felt dangerous. But what happened next shocked everyone. Because as the hype continued to build, pressure started building too. With hype comes expectation, and with expectation comes pressure. That's exactly where the Indiana Fever found themselves after the announcement, 'cause now it wasn't just about potential, it was about performance. Fans weren't asking what if anymore. They were asking what now. And inside the team, that shift was real. Practices became more intense. Focus levels increased. Every drill mattered more, because everyone understood something important. This wasn't just another season. This was a statement season. But what made things even more interesting was how each player handled that pressure. Caitlin Clark stayed consistent, focused, calm. The same player who thrives under attention continued doing what she does best, leading through performance. Sophie Cunningham brought intensity, vocal leadership, energy that lifted the entire team. She didn't just fit into the system, she amplified it. In Lexie, she balanced everything: defense, hustle, stability. The kind of presence that holds a team together when things get chaotic. And that balance started showing. Because in early matchups, something became clear. This team was different, faster, sharper, more connected. But what happened next shocked everyone, because the real test was still coming. Every team has a moment, a game, a situation where everything gets tested. For the Indiana Fever, that moment arrived sooner than expected. A high-pressure matchup, national attention, at ESPN coverage, and a chance to prove that this wasn't just hype, it was real. And when the game started, you could feel it: the energy, the focus, the intensity, everything was elevated. Caitlin Clark controlled the pace. Sophie Cunningham brought physicality. Lexie locked in defensively, and together they looked complete. Not perfect, but dangerous. Because even when things got tough, they didn't break. They adjusted. They adapted. They responded. And that's what great teams do. But what made this moment special wasn't just the result. It was the realization. This wasn't just a good move. This was the start of something bigger. A new identity. A new era. And maybe a serious contender in the WNBA. If this move shocked you, just wait until you see what this team does next. 'Cause right now, the Indiana Fever are building something special and you don't want to miss it. Hit that like button if you think Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexie can dominate the WNBA this season. Drop a comment and tell me, are they contenders already, or do they still need time? And most importantly, subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because the next update, the next big performance, the next viral moment could happen anytime. And trust me, you want to be the first to see it. #WNBA, #Caitlin Clark, #Sophie Cunningham, #Lexie, #Indiana Fever, #WUBA News, Hashtag WNBA highlights, hashtag WOMENS, basketball, hashtag sports news, hashtag viral video, hashtag trending, hashtag SPN, hashtag WNBA stars, hashtag sports viral.